I'm Elizabeth, and my brother is Matt T. And he is about 6 years older than me. So basically, I don't have many memories of my brother from childhood that don't involve some sort of substance use and abuse. Um, he I guess starting, and he wasn't around very much, I guess by nature of his extracurriculars. So he was kind of absent, and I just associated him kind of with making the mood of my household worse, I guess, because I was so much younger. My mom kind of tried to keep things hidden from me. Um, that she was upset with my brother and that he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing. He started, I guess, like a lot of people do, with like smoking weed and stuff in middle school, and then in high school that progressed to drinking pretty heavily, and then he moved out when I was in middle school, so he wasn't really around anymore. And so I didn't really ever feel like, I guess, I had a brother. I often described myself, I guess, as an only child, and I just had this other guy around that was kind of like a brother, but not really. And as I got older, and kind of knew what was going on, because I was older, so I was being told more, just picking up on more. And I knew that his time in Murfreesboro was not going well, and that he had gotten into some trouble and was not making good decisions and had like dropped out of school. And I knew my parents weren't happy with him. And he looked terrible. And I guess that's kind of when you knew that things weren't going well and that they were not good, because he looked bloated and sick, like his color wasn't right. And I think that's probably when he had started using pills and mixing that with alcohol. And that got pretty dark. But honestly, I just really didn't pay that much attention to him. I kind of just kept it at arm's length and still lived my high school life. And I had a very negative attitude towards my brother. I cannot say that I was supportive really ever. I was kind of selfish about the experience, which is probably natural at the time as a teenager. You're, pretty self-absorbed. And so I kind of had like a victim mentality about it, I guess, and thought that it was so unfair that I had Matt for this kind of non-existent brother, and he just made everything worse. Not to mention that he stole from me all the time. Money and birthday cards, Christmas cards, from Easter baskets, that kind of thing. And my mom just always replaced it. And I don't know if she ever even talked to him about it, but she just always replaced the money. And I guess that kind of satisfied me. But when I guess some real bridges were burned when I was in college and my brother had moved back home, or like had access to the house. I'm not sure if he was living there yet or not. And I came home for break or for summer to like move back in, and I realized that my stuff was gone. Like all of my childhood books that I had been assigned to read in school. And I'm a teacher now, so books are very important to me. And I actually read the books that were assigned to me in school. Like my Harry Potter books that I had waited with my best friends. Every time they were going to come out, I waited at Borders until midnight, right, to buy them. And he had sold them all to like McKay's, probably for basically no money. And he had pawned like all of my video games and my old like Game Boy stuff and my guitar and all of that. And that was just kind of like, oh, you're dead to me, right? Because it was just like he had just, while I was gone, just sold my, childhood and my stuff. It just felt so violating because you would think that your stuff is safe, like in your house, your childhood home, uh, that your family still lives in. And to find out that like your own brother is taking it from you was really hard. I remember I even was so petty, though now I look at it with a different lens, but I had been saving for years this whole big jar of, it was really more like a jug. And it had just like so much change in it, right? Because I was a teenager before iPhones. And so mom gave me, $20 every weekend to go to the movies or something. And so I had all of this change. And he had taken every single quarter out of the whole thing. And I can't even remember now what I was going to buy with that. Like there was some goal I was going to buy with the change, and it obviously doesn't matter now because I can't even remember it. But I remember that was something I didn't realize had been taken from me until much later. And when I realized it, my mom and I just looked at each other and we were just speechless because he had taken the time to dump all of that out and get all of the quarters. And now I look at that and I'm not sad for me like I was at the time. I'm just like so sad for him because I can have more empathy. I didn't know him as a person growing up. He was not really like human to me because I only had the negative side of him. And now that I have given him a chance and gotten to know him as a sibling, I just feel so bad for him because like how much was he hurting physically to go through all of those quarters, right? And like wrap them and take them somewhere to like a Coinstar or something. And now it's like heartbreaking, but at the time I just thought that's so petty, and how could someone be that low? But I guess, and I'm going to talk about some of this on April 4th when I'm speaking, but I guess his sobriety journey has also been difficult for me in ways that I did not expect, because it changed our family dynamics where I never felt like I had a brother, and I kind of thought of myself as an only child with just this like random guy hanging around. But when he got sober, my parents and my family were so supportive of him. And that was really hard for me because I had to work through a lot of really complicated feelings and kind of have like a spotlight shift from, me to him. And I was not kind of the default perfect child anymore, I guess. I had kind of gotten to be, as long as I wasn't doing the things that Matt was doing, I was golden, right? And that changed when Matt started getting sober and really maturing and kind of getting his life together and being the person that my parents had always knew that he could be. But, I was all of a sudden had like a stranger in my family that I felt like I really didn't know at all. And he was just kind of coming in with all of his stuff. And it was very upsetting to me for actually, at the time I was really embarrassed by it. I was ashamed I felt that way. But now I think it was probably pretty normal, but I felt that way for 2 or 3 years. It was really hard for me, and it didn't really open up to him very much. And I would say in the last year for sure, we've really been working on our relationship and getting to know each other. And it's been really nice because I finally feel like as an adult, I have a sibling now, and we're so similar in so many ways that I would have never thought I would have never thought we would have been so similar. Like growing up, I was actually talking to my mom on the way here, and growing up, I thought that we were so different, my brother and I. But as we've gotten to know each other as sober adults, we're so similar. We relate to people and the world in such similar ways. And so it's actually been really, I guess it's been like an added comfort that I guess I've been missing out on this whole time of like having a sibling, that you have that shared experience of having the same parents and those kinds of things. And we don't have a lot of shared experience growing up, but we're similar enough that it kind of feels like we do. And so that's been really comforting. And I'm really thankful that my dad convinced him to come to Discovery Place and kind of give sobriety another chance. He had never been successful with that. And I had nothing to do with his journey at first. My parents were great. They came every Friday for friends and family and for dinner. And I was always invited and just essentially, I just had a standing invite. And I, in return, gave them like a standing no thank you, because I was teaching and tired and living my own life, and I was dating my husband, and I just did not want to make time for that, because I didn't think that he could be successful, you know. And I'm so happy that he has proved me wrong. And now, you know, that he just will send me a text like, hey, or, you know, will you come speak? Or, hey, will you come do an interview? And now I don't even hesitate. I'm like, of course, sure, right? Because it has given me a new family member, right? It's given me a brother that I always wished that I had, but didn't.